Well, hello everybody. Welcome to this wonderful video. I'm here with my dear friend, fellow coach, client, and fellow Dragonfly Club member, Merritt Minnemeyer. Merritt, welcome. Take a moment to share with us, who are you and who do you serve?
Yeah, great. So thank you so much, Jonathan. I am Merritt Minnemeyer. I am the founder and CEO of Master of One Coaching, which is a leadership and executive coaching practice based here in the Hudson Valley, New York, but with international reach. And our focus is primarily helping purpose-driven leaders achieve their impossible dreams. So we love working with founders and people who are in the C-suite or high-level leaders of social entrepreneurial businesses. People who have missions along with their for-profit businesses. We also work with nonprofits, but our specialty is really that social enterprise space.
Beautiful. I love the name Master of One. It's just so yummy. So take us on a little journey. If we were to roll back the clock about 4 months ago, before we started this most recent adventure together, where were you, life, maybe business, and who was Merritt back then?
It doesn't sound like very long ago. 4 months is not that long ago, and yet it does seem significant as a time span. There's so many changes that have happened just even in the last couple of weeks. So back last fall, I was first of all, I really value tremendously community. And in the online coaching space, it can be very tricky to find community because there's so many different communities to find, number one. So it's hard to decide which one is the right one or the right fit for that moment. And so I was feeling a little bit like I'm in need of that community. I also had been coming out of a few different kinds of coaching experiences and knew that I wasn't looking for a super intense situation, but I was really craving that community support and people who are in similar places in life and business. The more I lean into that need, the more I value it. And the more value it provides in my life and in my work. So I was seeking that, and also was sort of in the midpoint of not a full stop, but a pause. I refer to it as kind of lifting my foot off the gas, not taking it totally off, but lifting it up of my business. I'd been dealing with a few significant personal challenges and not necessarily all difficult, but just things that needed my attention in my personal life that I was kind of creating space for. And was forecasting that eventually that was going to shift into a spot where I needed to put my foot back on the gas more and do that in a way that was going to continue to sustain and fulfill me, because I'm prone towards burnout. Right. I mean, we're high octane folks. We like to get things done. We like to have big impact. We like to have those big achievements and help other people get those big achievements. And I know you can relate to this. And it's easy to tip into burnout because we get so fired up. Right. Yeah. So I'm conscientious about that. And then when you presented this opportunity to me, I was like, well, that is exactly perfect, because Jonathan is the perfect person to work with in this regard. You and I already have such a kindred connection, and I respect and admire you so much. And I know many of the same people that you know in a certain way. And so I knew that the people who are going to be attracted to this container were going to be people that I knew and loved and respected, or could very easily learn to love and respect. And I have 1,000% trust and faith in your capabilities as a guide and a coach and a leader. And so it was no brainer, really.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm so glad that you felt into that in that way. In your words, what is the Dragonfly Club?
It's exactly that. It's exactly a container, a community of people who are, like-minded is an easy thing to say. I'm not sure it's as simple as that, but it is that we are all in purpose. And those purposes are connected. They're not all the same, but they are all connected in that we all are driven to have a great positive impact in the lives of others, in the world, on the planet. We all have very specific and unique ways we do that. We also have some common vocabulary and some foundational skills on how we do that, whether it's in leadership, whether that's in coaching, whether it's in therapy, whether it's, in business. Not everybody's coming from the same exact role, but people are coming from a similar heart space. We all want to be successful, however we define that. We're all driven towards that. We also all are very much connected to being whole people. And so one of the beautiful things about the Dragonfly Club is it allows for the whole person to show up, for all of us, each individual member to show up as a whole person. And whether we're having a difficult day or a difficult week or a brilliant week, or we're having all of those things and in between, everything is witnessed with love, with sincerity, with honor, with respect, and with genuine support and compassion, which makes it then so much easier for us to process through whatever it is we need to process through, accept it, let it go, and move on, create space to something new. So that all of that is, and that's really, I think, the purpose that Dragonfly Club serves more than anything, is that space to process whatever it is safely, process it well, supported with all the other skills and tools and talents that are people in the group, and then let it go, rather than holding on to it, shaming ourselves about it, worrying about it, trying to push through. All that stuff is just, we don't need to do any of that. That we can just share it, be supported, be witnessed, be loved, and let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking of all the beautiful space that gets created for those moments to process. If you remember the invitation that I sent you to join the Dragonfly Club, it contained very little information because I still don't know how to articulate what it is that came to me in that moment. But what had you lean in and say yes?
Because you asked me to.
Is that all I need to do, is ask people to join the
Pretty much. I mean, and that comes with, a couple of years of friendship and connection.
Yeah.
And trust. And I mean, frankly, the price point that you offered at that time was like, it was seriously a no-brainer. It was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? This is like such an incredible value. It was what I needed at the right time. It was because you were the right person asking. It was because the price was, I think I've said this to you a few times. Like, I think you don't charge enough for what you, but we can go after that.
It's by design,
I know. And I appreciate it very much. I think too that, it was the right time. You were the right person. It was the right venue. It all just kind of stars aligned very easily and naturally. There wasn't really any decision to be made. It was like, yeah, obviously that's what I'll do.
I hear that answer a lot, and I appreciate it so much. It just fills me up. How has being a part of the Dragonfly Club affected or influenced how you lead and conduct business now?
Oh, well, just yesterday in our
yeah, there we go. There's a recent story.
Just yesterday in our Dragonfly Club session, I shared that I had something drop into my head, divinely, if we can call it whatever that is. I'm going to call it divinely, intuitively, that it's okay to be me. Now, this sounds like a very simple thing, and you think, well, of course it is, and we teach this all the time. I am a coach that runs a 6-figure business. I've been doing this for a few years now. I've taught and coached in many different capacities over the last 20 plus years of my career. I've been a performer. I've had many successes and many failures. I have a beautiful family. I have all the things. I have a lovely home, like all the things. And yet there is still the voice in my head that is severely self-critical. And just this week, it dropped in this new way. It's okay to be you. It's okay to be me. And my shoulders went, my shoulders went like, oh. And that, I think that would not have landed as clearly, or maybe, I mean, I don't want to say ever or if at all, because I don't know that, but I know that because you have provided this beautiful, beautiful space, because you have built this community of people who all are seeking and also support others who are seeking acceptance, love, expansion as individuals, as impact-driven leaders, that we talk about what are the next things that are, what's the next upper limit. And for me, it was self-acceptance. It is still, right? So those layers start peeling off. And to be able to experience that moment of allowing that message to come through, welcoming it, letting it integrate, and then sharing it, being witnessed and sharing it, and everyone going, yeah. Again, a room full of highly successful people. Like, these are not people who are, just starting out. These are not people who, I mean, some of them are different places in their business and, have different markers for success. Of course, we all do. But we've all been through stuff, and we've all had some experience behind our belts or under our belts. So to be witnessed by all of those people in that moment and it not surprise anybody, right? Because everybody has a version of that in that room, in most rooms, to be honest. That was really powerful, really, really powerful.
And we often think that it will surprise people in the room, right? Like, oh my God, I'm so different. Me being me would be like so far out of the realm of possibility that I'll just stay in the neutral zone. Mm-hmm. And I can appreciate that so much, because I've experienced that same shift as that percolates every cell, that you get to be the most you can be. And in that space, everything starts to click, everything becomes possible, and it just feels good to be you, right? Like that little inner child in us gets to like go, hey, I'm back. Yay, I'm weird and I'm different.
And we're not running interference all the time with, oh, there's that voice again. Okay, I got to deal with that. Okay. It's like, it's just such a heavy lift. There's so much static in the system to always have to run through that filter of, it's not okay to be me. It's not okay to be me. I got to show up differently. I got to do this thing differently. I got to be a different person. I got to contort myself into somebody else's expectations. When that static I'm experiencing now in this moment, right, this week or this couple of weeks is lifted or cleared, even partially, it becomes so much more fluid and so much more fun and easy. So I can look at myself now. I mean, I posted this thing yesterday on social media where I was like doing a silly dance. Now, I probably would have done that before, but it was easy for me to do. Like, I would have like thought about it, like, am I look like a jerk? Am I so silly? I'm not supposed to show up that way because I'm a leader and I do corporate work, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, well, I'm just going to show up and be silly. And it was just so much easier. It happened faster. It happened like, I didn't have to think about it all day long. I made that video in 30 seconds. I posted it. It took me maybe 4 or 5 minutes to get it all across the channels, and that was it. Whereas before I would have like toiled. I don't want to look stupid.
And so much more fun and light and free. You and I have jammed a little bit on flow. I mean, that if that isn't flow, right? Like, I don't need to think about it. I just do. And off you go, right? So, and I saw that video. It was beautiful. I was just like, oh my God, look at Merritt and her fun energy right now. It's so good.
I think I'm such a nerd about coaching, and I really do completely nerd out on it. And I've decided to embrace that too. It's like, you know what? It's my passion. It has been in some way or other for most of my life since I was a teenager. I'm just going to embrace that.
Yeah. And for all of you listening, there's space for us nerds in the Dragonfly Club. Come hang out with all your fellow nerd coaches who want to nerd out on all kinds of things, spirituality and otherwise. Mm-hmm. Then we talk about dance and musicals and all kinds of stuff in there. It's super fun. And I love how your answers are basically rolling right into my next question, which is, what makes the Dragonfly Club so different than any other mastermind for you?
Well, I mean, there's a few things. I think that the main thing that's different, and this is not to disparage any other mastermind, because every experience I've had has been so powerful and useful in its way. And I've learned so much from each experience. So, and what makes this one particularly unique and powerful for me in this moment of my life and career is that it's not outcome driven in the same way. And I needed outcome driven programs before to get me to break through some of my upper limits and to get me to thinking differently about what outcomes were possible for me. And we do that too in Dragonfly Club. We do talk about expansion and limiting beliefs and who are you becoming, which is my favorite question, of course. And I pose that to all of my clients. It's actually the inside of my notebooks that I give that to all my clients. But so it's fun to be have that question reflected back to me all, every couple of weeks in some way or another. Ultimately, though, because I am prone to burnout, and I think so many of us are in this field, because we're outcome driven, because it's coaching is about setting goals and success, that to have the pressure of a certain kind of outcome relieved for me is hugely important right now, because I am redefining how I do business and jumping into the stream of the movement of redefining what work is, what life is, how we create and co-create. And this container is such a beautiful, beautiful incubator for that paradigm shift. And I also think that because I've now created a certain, for me, this is not true for everybody, I'm sure, but because I have learned some really important structures, the rules, if you will, on how to create a business that was right for me structurally and how the whole market works in this regard, that I'm able to now come in and let the rules go because I've already internalized some of the ones that work for me. And I can leave the rest and jump into this pool that's just like kind of yummy and delicious and swimming around and it's more free form. Because I had the structure ahead of time, now I can flow with the free form in a way that feels very supported and directed.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Don't we love free form?
Yeah.
What has it meant and or does it mean for you to be a dragonfly?
It means acceptance. It means self-acceptance. It means being challenged to show up for people who are in powerful moments of shift. Oftentimes it can be uncomfortable to witness that in somebody else too, especially when we're not in that same moment. I mean, I've certainly had those moments in my life, profound moments of paradigm shift in my own life. I'm not always tuned up to witness that in other people. And yet when I do consistently, when I lean into what the group has to offer, I am consistently blown away by the power of the human spirit, by what's possible, what we're capable of, how possibilities expand when we allow them to, when we start asking curious questions. It also, I mean, I've very specifically met and connected with some individuals who have helped me get clarity on how I define myself as an entrepreneur, as a service provider, as a human. They've provided insight for me that I would not have been able to provide for myself, and in such a genuine way, just a loving way, not always agreeable. That isn't just not saying, oh yeah, we're gonna like take all your BS and co-sign it. They're not doing that all the time. But they're doing it in a way that's like, hey, have you thought about this? You actually are, what I see as your gifts are these. And I go, oh, right. Yeah. And then I'm able to do that for other people. So that's genuinely my purpose, is to show up for other people and help them do that. Right. So we're given the opportunity to do it and also have it being done for me every time we show up on a call is such a gift. So it means to me that I get to constantly play with how I define myself and watch other people do the same and get inspired by that too.
Yeah, you touch on a point that I think sometimes is potentially even a failure of mine in articulating what goes on inside the Dragonfly Club, which is the powerful witnessing that we do of each other. Would you speak into how that manifests and what it looks like in real time? And because that's the essence of what we're up to, and it creates this spaciousness for all kinds of things to transform and metamorphose. But in your words, what are we doing when we're witnessing each other?
Well, deep listening, right? I mean, there are some very real, very raw moments that are occurring in real time in our group. And I think, when we did the 3-month, so I've now shifted for those who aren't totally aware of how the structure works. There's a 3-month mastermind, and then there's the sort of ongoing program.
The universe.
Graduates, the universe. And the mastermind, I think, was so very useful and valuable for me in the witnessing, because however the stars aligned in that moment, that so many people in that container specifically were in this moment in their career or their life development, that they weren't all the same, but they really complemented each other well. Like, we all just sort of had this, like, you might be in a different place than I am, but there's such an alignment of heart and purpose that even if this moment in your life is different than mine, I can still understand it. I still appreciate it, that it's yours. I still am here to support you. There is something really specific about being an entrepreneur that is heart-driven, that has a spiritual aspect, or even a leader. Not everybody in our group was actually an entrepreneur, which is still great. But being a leader, somebody who is influencing others, it can be very lonely sometimes when you're at the front or in the back, or however we did want to perceive it, like as leading. And to have being witnessed in that loneliness, and there having a togetherness in our lonely moments, there's a coalition of I don't want to say this, but there's a coalescing, I guess, of purpose and heart that is so meaningful, just to know that there's other people out there who, you may not even see, maybe you don't even see them every week or every other week. Maybe they, people get called out and doing things, but they're there, they're in the world, and it connects you through that purpose, it connects you to this sense of belonging that is just vital. I think it's vital for people who do work like we do. It's vital for everybody. It's a fundamental human need. And for those of us who take risks in ways that other people don't care to, don't want to, don't understand why we would, to have that sense of belonging is really critical, I think.
I think even potentially amplifies our ability to take those risks.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
There are probably a lot of people tuning into this who may be wondering, our next cohort starts on March 1st, and maybe wondering, is this the right experience for me? I've tried a lot of masterminds. I'm not sure I'm in a position for a mastermind right now, but they may be hearing that this sounds different. Mm-hmm. How would you help them to qualify if this is the right experience for them?
Well, I think if you are asking questions like, what does it look like to expand? You're asking questions like, what does it look like to belong to a group of people that are on a higher vibration than I have ever experienced before, or a similar vibration to what I've experienced, but are on a higher or a wider breadth of knowledge and wisdom and experience and drive than I've experienced before. Because, when we surround ourselves with people who we only see every day, it limits our perspective. So part of the genius and beauty of the Dragonfly Club is that it's international. So we get to connect on so many different levels, right? So many different perspectives that come together there. If you're asking a question about, are there other people out there who do business differently than what I've seen? And what does that look like to do business that way, or to be an entrepreneur or a leader in that regard? Are my people out there? This could be the right thing for you. Again, not to disparage or criticize any other possible mastermind group that are out there. There's so many wonderful ones, and there's some ones that aren't so wonderful, but there are so many wonderful ones, and they all have a different focus, right? And that sometimes it's about that hyper accountability, that, you know, break through that financial barrier, that, you know, accomplish all the tasks on your list, that hustle and grind, go, 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 go. This one is the antithesis of that. It is growth by virtue of being expansive. And if that calls to you, then this is 100% the right place for you.
Yeah. And if that's not something you've tried yet, you've tried a lot of the other traditional masterminds or methodologies or the logical approach, then this might be something that is brand new. And what creates opportunities for expansion are when you do things that are new. Thank you. That was very well articulated. Who makes a great dragonfly? Who's a great fit to be a dragonfly inside of this experience?
My first thought is somebody who has the ability to be present. And actually, I'm going to modify that and say someone who is willing to be present. So if you even struggle with your ability to be present, what I mean by present is fully present in your body and witnessing, because we're not, you know, we're all virtual in this club, but there's still a strong call to be energetically present. So if that's something that you either love and are called to do and are really good at, or you are challenged by, but you'd like to get better, the opportunity for that is extreme here in the Dragonfly Club, and extreme in a really beautiful way. If you are, I think that people who are in a certain in various stages of business, it doesn't have to be one stage or another, or leadership or leadership, because we do have some, like I said before, some people who aren't running on their own businesses, but still tremendously benefited from this group. To be inspired by others who are striving, and not just striving to hit a certain mark or a certain number or a revenue goal or whatever, but striving to be better people, have greater impact, serve others in a deeper way. I think that this heart-centered business entrepreneurial space is so beautiful in that way, and so that's kind of the obvious thing to state. But I think that there can be more to it than that. I don't think you have to be, you know, a business owner per se. I think you can be somebody who just wants to really be part of the global universal shift of what leadership has meant, and is to what's meaning now, which is relationship, compassion, while also striving for excellence as we define it.
Ooh. How's that for an invitation? Yummy. Okay, well, one of the things that I share inside of the 12-week container is that I believe that there are gifts in every invitation. And so I want to give you the floor to make a powerful invitation. Who would be well served to have a conversation with Merritt Minnemeyer soon?
Well, right now, my offer is focused on one-on-one relationships. That's, I found after many years of doing various incarnations of service, that the one-on-one relationship is the one that I'm most passionate about in this moment. So in this time that I feel like I can serve at that highest level. So I am open. I'm inviting that leader who is building a huge dream. And when I say impossible dreams, I think about Don Quixote. If you know Men of La Mancha, my dad used to sing that in Dream the Impossible Dream song. He was also an architect and an entrepreneur. And so if you're out there fighting your windmills and nobody else is believing in your vision, but you know you can go somewhere, or they're starting to believe in it, but you really understand that what's going to get you from 0 to here is not going to get you to where you want to go with this vision, because there's a leadership shift, right, that happens between I can build the widget or do the service to I can have a global expansion and have that greatest impact. That's the moment that I'm inviting you to come and connect with me about. How do we get you from the visionary who started the project to the leader who's going to see it through.
Wow. Secret
Yes.
weapon kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll have all your details will be in the video so people can find you that way easily, Instagram and Facebook. And we can even add in a link for LinkedIn or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Merritt, it's a delight knowing you, witnessing you, hanging out with you inside the Dragonfly Club, outside of the Dragonfly Club. Thank you for sharing your heart and your mind today. I love you so much. And I appreciate you. Thank you.
I love you too. Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll chat soon. Peace.